In the distant past, the Japanese archipelago, which was once connected to the continent, was separated into islands about 10,000 years ago when glaciers melted and sea levels rose. Humans in Japan, who had traveled from the continent, formed their own lifestyle and culture when they were isolated on the island due to climate change, Jomon period. Then, in the 3rd century BC, small states began to emerge on the islands as rice farming and other cultural elements were transmitted by outsiders, immigrants from the neighboring Korean peninsula, Yayoi period. They first appeared under the name Wea in the Chinese history books, the Book of Han and the Book of Later Han. In the 4th century, the Yamato Kingdom, the first unified state in Japan, emerged in the Kinki, Kansai region, Nara Prefecture. During this period of the Yamato regime, cultures such as Buddhism, Confucianism, and Chinese characters were spread from Baekje on the Korean peninsula.
The Yamato Kingdom was an alliance of tribal chiefs, but after a war between powerful tribal families over the adoption of Buddhism and the succession to the throne, the Soga clan, which supported the adoption of Buddhism, emerged victorious. Thus, Soga no Umako, the head of the Soga clan who had seized immense power, enthroned his own maternal grandniece as queen in the late 6th century. And he appointed a prince who, like himself, was friendly to accepting Buddhism, Umayado, as regent, and this person was Prince Shotoku. Prince Shotoku tried to create a king-centered centralized system by embracing continental cultures such as Buddhism, Chinese characters, and art, and enacting a 17-article constitution, Asuka era. In 645 AD, Prince Nakano Oi, who had overthrown the Soga clan in a coup and seized power, implemented reforms modeled after the Tang Code of China, Taika reform. Through this Taika reform or restoration, Japan established a centralized system centered on the king. Emperor Tenmu, who ascended to the throne in 673 AD, changed the country's name from Wei to Japan, and elevated the title of king to Tenno, emperor. In 794 AD, Emperor Kamu permanently established the capital in Heian, Kyoto, marking the beginning of a new era known as the Heian period. In the early Heian period, the Tenno ruled the country, but as time passed, the power of nobles and lords grew stronger. In particular, in the mid-9th century, when the Fujiwara family, which had grown powerful as relatives on the mother's side of the royal family, purged its political opponents and seized power, the emperor lost his power and was reduced to a puppet.
By the mid-10th century, the Fujiwara family took advantage of the power of the mother's side of the royal family to enthrone the young emperor and then act as regency. As the young emperor grew up, he took over on his own and he rose to the position of Kampaku and monopolized all power. Kampaku is a Japanese top government official who oversees state affairs. As an external officer, which is not stipulated in the laws, he was in fact the highest ranking position among the ministers of the imperial court until the Meiji Restoration. The politics practiced by the Fujiwara family during this period was called Shokan politics, or regent politics. The Fujiwara family's monopoly on power lasted for 150 years. However, the situation changed in the mid-11th century when emperors not related to the Fujiwara family, especially emperors without relatives on the mother's side, ascended to the throne. Shirakawa Tenno, emperor, who ascended to the throne in 1072, became the former emperor, or emperor emeritus, and conducted politics to the exclusion of the Fujiwara family. This type of former emperor or emperor emeritus government was called insei, or cloistered government. As the royal family eliminated the influence of the Fujiwara family through insei or cloistered government, internal strife broke out between the former emperor or emperor emeritus and the current emperor, causing the court to split into the former emperor faction and the current emperor faction. To win the power struggle, they attracted local families with independent military power, which led to the growth of local lords' families and the samurai class. In 1192, a war sparked by a conflict between the former emperor and the current emperor took place, known as the Genpei War.
However, the final winner, Minamoto Yoritomo, head of the Minamoto family, was appointed Grand General Jongi, Supreme Military Commander, Shogun. As a result, Minamoto Yoritomo, who became the commander-in-chief of samurai throughout the country, established the shogunate, a governing body, in Kamakura, Kamakura Shogunate. And the Kimakura period, Japan's first samurai regime, began to unfold. However, not long after, the Minamoto family lost real power of the shogunate to the Hojo family due to a rebellion launched by their maternal relative's family, the Hojo family. In the late 13th century, the Kamakura shogunate defeated two Mongol invasions with the power of a typhoon, kamikaze, that accidentally occurred. However, during the course of this war, the relationship between the samurai and the shogunate became distant due to the issue of compensation for participation in the war.
Emperor Go-Daigo, who ascended to the throne in 1318, colluded with samurai who had previously fallen out of favor with the shogunate. To reclaim power from the shogunate, he formed anti-shogunate forces and waged war. In 1333, the emperor and anti-shogunate forces attacked the shogunate, killing the Hojo clan and bringing an end to the Kamakura shogunate after nearly 150 years of rule. After returning to Kyoto, Emperor Go-Daigo sought to abolish the shogunate and establish direct imperial rule, Kenmu Restoration. However, the samurai who had contributed to the overthrow of the shogunate were not properly rewarded. In turn, the samurai Ashikaga Takauji, who was dissatisfied with the emperor, rebelled in 1336, captured Kyoto, and enthroned a new emperor, Northern Court. And Ashikaga Takauji became shogun and established a new shogunate, Muromachi Shogunate. Meanwhile, as the defeated Emperor Go-Daigo fled south and claimed his throne, Southern Court, the Nanboku-cho period unfolded with two emperors and two courts existing. Thank you for watching. Japanese History, Part 2 is coming soon. This is Tony. I worked alongside Leah and Gina. Thank you.